Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Carmack to talk about the heavy snow that's going to be moving into Northern California on this Wednesday. Now, we'll talk about a couple of different items here because I think it's all important. And notice that I won't spend almost any time talking about Northern California rain. Now, along the coast, there's been heavy rain, but in the valley spots, there's just a few scattered showers. It's really more of a snow system rather than rain, just because the moisture is so limited. And there's a really important reason for that. So earlier in the morning, it started to move in. And I just want to point out one thing. The nature of how this all comes together is we have limited moisture, very limited moisture, but a lot of cold air. And that's really going to maximize the amount of inches of snow that we can get out of this system, because we're barely going to get any rain at all if you get outside of the coastal areas. And this is true across the whole country. 1 inch of snow is not comparable to another inch of snow because of the water contained in that. So it's a very important distinction. We'll talk about the snow ratio in just a second. As far as the rest of the country, they had major blizzard that moved along, caused so many issues. But right here in Northern California, it's going to be this heavy sustained snow through much of the day, along with strong winds and some whiteout conditions. And one of the tricks, by the way, if you look at a lot of satellite images, you can see these speckled little clouds. That's a key indication that the air coming in is going to be pretty cold, and that really tells you the nature of the storm. So then we switch it over to the watches, warnings, and advisories map, which is, there's quite a few all over the area. But notice that there's two different colors here. Well, what does this mean? We have in the weather world two things. We have a winter weather advisory and then a winter storm warning. It all sounds like the same thing, but what you're really looking at with the winter weather advisory, which is the purple here, is that you're going to get some snow, but the impacts are going to be much less than a winter storm warning. Typically with these, you have heavy snow, strong winds, poor driving, momentary road closures, chain controls. There's just a lot more to a winter storm warning. So that's the top level advisory that you'll get from the National Weather Service, and that's exactly what's issued from today until basically 10 o'clock later on tonight. Now let's go back to the nature of the snow. There's a nickname for this heavy, wet snow that we get quite often in our local area. They call it Sierra cement, and it looks kind of like this. There's a lot of water in that snow, so it's heavy, it's dense. You could really see it as this person here is skiing through it. Now, any skier is going to love any kind of powder anytime they can get it, but it's a heavy, wet snow that you really have to work to get through. This is way different than what we often get in more colder climates, say Utah, Montana, Japan. Some of those spots, the air is just generally much colder, so even though there's less liquid coming in, you get more inches of snow. What are these numbers? This is 1 inch of rain turns into 15 inches of snow in the mountains. That's a high snow ratio versus, say, a situation like this where it's 1 inch of rain that turns into only, say, 8 inches of snow. Again, snow is snow, but the water contained in the snow is really a big deal. And that's really what we look at when we talk about snow water equivalent in the mountains. That's our snowpack. We really want to know how much water is in that snow because that's what we use in the long, hot summer. Right now, even though we've had recent storms that have been great for skiing, opening up a lot more terrain for some of these resorts that are all in Northern California, as far as the water in the snow, there's just not that much of it because we haven't had big atmospheric rivers and some of these warmer storms that can have a lot of water and in the snow. As far as the rest of this one, the timing is basically going to be now through tonight. We're looking at least a foot of past level snow, and I'd say at least 4 to 6 inches down to 3,000 feet. So that's a big deal for lower foothill communities. The problem, though, is that combined with the snow, it's also going to be really windy. Wind gusts at the pass level, 50 miles per hour. That's strong. When you add in the heavy snow and the lower visibility, we could see whiteout conditions. And at the crest of the Sierra, basically the top of the mountains, we could be looking at gusts upwards of 100 miles per hour. So it's a big storm. It's confined to one day, but the only thing helpful about this is that it's in the middle of the week. That means less traffic. A lot of truck traffic, they never stop. But as far as just routine or weekend warriors, we're going to see a lot less of that because it's in the middle of the week. It's mostly just snow, as I mentioned. There's very little rain with this one, not as far as totals. I think we'll get some rain, but very little. And then the biggest issue of all, I think, is going to be visibility, because when it's snowing 2 inches an hour with 50-mile-per-hour winds, that's the recipe for zero visibility. And when that happens, they tend to close the road because it's not safe, certainly for the travelers or for CHP and Caltrans.